All right, guys, I'm A-Way, and this is A-Way The Shed. Today we got Juwon the Don.
What's up, guys?
Yes, sir. Take us back, man, to your childhood, man. Where were you? Two-parent household. Give us all of that.
Okay, growing up, born and raised in Fort Wayne, Indiana. 260. Grew up on the south side, over by Kettler Park. Had a house there. It was my grandma's house. Stayed at my grandma's house with my mom and my uncles. And see, my dad. I never lived with my dad. He was in and out of my life, but I actually saw him recently. I helped him move. He moved into an apartment. I helped move his furniture and stuff. But really grew up with my mom and my grandma. I think when I was about maybe nine or 10, my mom ended up getting an apartment, and I just moved into her. And grew up that way, yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah, were you active in sports at all this time?
Yeah. I played on the Metro Lions over there at Kettler Park. Big Metro football guy coming up. Legends. I played with my guy Donovan Clark, and he went to IU, did his thing. Played against Jesse Bates. Every year. Used to link up with him in the Metro All-Star game. We would be teammates. He was on the Chargers. But yeah, definitely played. I think I played 5 years of Metro. I think 1 year I played middle school ball instead, so I didn't get the 6. But they still gave me my jacket. They still gave me my 6-year jacket. And I had a good experience young with football. I played football in middle school and high school. It wasn't quite the same experience for certain reasons. I feel like there's a lot of politics in that sport when you grow up. But I definitely wrestled when I was younger. I won freestyle state, ISWA, my first year wrestling. I think when I was 8 years old. I won another state title when I was young, either 9 or 10. And then I ended up quitting wrestling when I was young, which was really probably one of my worst decisions, but it ended up working out in the end. But
what led to that decision?
Man, as far as I remember it, because I was young, and it wasn't like documented history. But as far as my memory recalls, I was out at Iowa wrestling at nationals, and I hadn't lost a match in a while. Like I know I lost a match on some BS, like some controversial, like bad, like literally a scoring error at the table. And but other than that, I hadn't really lost any major tournaments. So I was at nationals in Iowa, and I lost a couple times. I think I got 4th or something. But as far as my memory recalls, it was just so loud in that crowd. Everyone was yelling. It was like, in my head, it was just thousands of people in there. I couldn't hear myself think. And I was frustrated that I was losing, and I got in an argument with my Uncle Rodney, who's been my coach and like a leader for me my whole life. So my Uncle Rodney was my coach, great wrestler, great athlete. And I got into him and tried to blame it on him, try to, act like it was his fault, and just was weak in the moment and gave up, quit. Definitely something I look back on. But after that, I started playing basketball, and I dove in heavy to the ball just because I really love basketball. Basketball was probably my first love, like for real, in all aspects of life. Basketball was my first love, and I hooped hard. I got cut 6th and 7th grade, made the team 8th grade, made the team freshman year, made the team sophomore year. And then junior year, I started back wrestling, and I've been wrestling and grappling and in the MMA culture ever since, as far as sports goes, for sure.
Hell yeah. Sounds like you thought you were going to be an athlete, professional at some point.
Oh, yeah, in my head, yeah. A lot of young kids growing in Fort Wayne, in my head, I thought NBA or NFL, you know what I mean? If I was smarter, or if time in today's age, if I was a kid in today's age, I would have been like, I'm going to the UFC. Like, it wouldn't have been a debate. Like, I just would have been like, kept wrestling through college and everything. And in my head, I would have been like, oh man, they getting paid $1 million to fight. You could take him down, hold him down, choke him out. Like there's just like, so it's different because I didn't value the wrestling as much because a lot of the wrestlers, even the great wrestlers from when I was a kid, they just now getting their money. Like the money is just now back in the sport. And a lot of old heads will argue with me and say it's not, but I know people in the game, and there's a little bit of money. It's not a lot, it ain't no NBA money, but it's a little money in the wrestling now. So especially with the NILs, and then they got the RTCs, the regional training centers. So it's and the sponsors, it's a little money, but so in my head I didn't see the value in it, and a lot of people still don't, but I didn't see it at that age. So in my head I thought I was a hooper, and I was, what I'm saying, I was decent, but I'm playing basketball and football, and it's a couple guys out here that made it out, like I said, Jesse Bates. I remember playing 7-on-7 with Drew Tranquil. Dog went to Carroll, Notre Dame, and was on the Chargers. Rest in peace, Biggie Swan again. I hooped again against Biggie, and real NBA, NFL like talent exists, and I grew up competing with these guys, but there's also, I think the biggest thing is discipline, size, potential, who you know, and but no, I wasn't as good as those guys. But I was grinding. I wrestled in college, only D2. My freshman year, I went to Ashland University. I ended up getting injured. I hurt my back, and I ended up coming back home. I had a lot of personal issues off the mat, and I just wasn't. It didn't work out. I wasn't mature enough. But like with what I know now, I would have stayed and finished or figured it out. But I think it all worked out for a reason, though, for sure. But yeah, I went to Ashland University, a little Division II school in Ohio. Still got lifelong friends from there too, for sure.
Can you speak on what you were going through? Were you battling something in high school or college?
Yeah, no. So my freshman year, first semester at Ashland, I hurt my back. So I hurt my back at wrestling practice, but I was in a great situation there. Shout out to Coach Hutchins. Shout out to Coach Kearse. I was in a great position. I was behind Joe Brandt. He was a 3-time All-American. He was a senior. Ranked number 1, would go on to be a 4-time All-American, and it was set up perfectly to where I could, red shirt and then fill the blank in and hold the standard. So I came into a great position, like a position I nearly didn't deserve. You know what I mean? But I grinded that off season. I really grinded. So I don't know if I could say didn't deserve, but I was in a great position. But I hurt my back, and then when I hurt my back, bro, I couldn't even put my socks on, bro. I was fucked up. I went to the hospital, everything. It wasn't broken, but I didn't, pay to get the MRI or anything. But yeah, I had a bad back injury and just wasn't. And then I couldn't put my socks on, so I wasn't going to class, you know what I'm saying? Wasn't handling it in a mature way, like talking to the administrators and my teachers, trying to be responsible about it. So I wasn't handling it in a mature way. And then at that time, late in that semester, I want to say, I don't recall the date, but either in November or December, my first year, my papa ended up passing away. You know what I'm saying? My mom's dad. And as far as my memory serves, and I'll stand on that, that was really my only financial support growing up, and especially at that time, that was the only person I could, look out. And let alone he was spiritually like my leader. He was a pastor, and that was I had a different air of confidence when he was here, because I knew that he was praying for me, and I knew what he was about on that tip. So it just hit me hard, when I was a freshman in college. I'm in Ohio, and ain't no one from Indiana I know, and then I go back for that, I see how my family is. and then I just, things start to fall downhill when you accept the possibility of them falling downhill.
Yeah, we do.
You know.
So then, what happened after this? When you got out, did you start get back into the MMA culture?
So I came back. I came back to Fort Wayne. I was still wrestling. I ended up having my first daughter, Malia. That's my little baby. She just turned 7. Had my first daughter. I want to say, she couldn't have been conceived shortly after I came back from college. You know what I'm saying? So, had my first kid that following October, and I was still wrestling on the circuit. But I want to say I went to that year, that following year. I went to the last chance qualifier for the Olympic trials. I'm saying me and my Uncle Rodney went back to Iowa. You know what I'm saying? 10 years, 9 years later, went back at it. You know what I'm saying? Trying to qualify for Olympic trials, which is a rare thing that he has. He's done that. He's qualified for Olympic trials. I want to say there's only 2 people from Fort Wayne that ever have. You know what I'm saying? It's a rare thing when you get to that final, 8-man bracket for a spot on the United States. So we went out there. I think I went 1-2 in freestyle. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't ready. I was 230 at heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? I'm 19, but I've always been on that, and we always have been. You know what I mean? And so I went out there into that. I went, and that's when I won. I won my first ISWA Indiana State title as an adult that year in 2016 as well. And it was crazy how it happened.